Chapter 3. Crime. California's violent crime rate increased by 6.0%, from 440 per 100,000 residents in 2020 to 4666 in 2021. Like many other states, California has seen fluctuations in its crime rates over time. According to data from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, California's overall crime rate has been in decline in recent years. However, in certain areas, the state still has higher crime rates than the national average. One of California's main issues is its high rate of violent crime, which increased by 6% from 2020 to 2021, going from 440 per 100,000 residents to 466. This must end, as violent crime is detrimental to our communities. For example, consider the ongoing gang violence in cities like Los Angeles, which often leads to innocent bystanders being injured or killed, causing trauma and fear within the community. In addition, gang violence can lead to increased policing and neighborhood restrictions, creating a sense of distrust between law enforcement and the community. This can lead to a cycle of criminal activity and place a further strain on community relationships and resources. The loss of life, physical and emotional harm, and erosion of community trust are all devastating consequences of gang violence, highlighting the importance of addressing the root causes of violent crime in California. Property crime is also a big issue in California, as many residents either know someone who was a victim or have personally experienced a property crime. These rates rose in 24 counties in 2021, with 7 of the 15 largest included in this statement. Of these 24, 13 counties, including 2 of the 15 largest, witnessed property crime rates jump by at least 10%. San Francisco saw the largest increase, by 16.9%. In recent years, there has been a particular increase in car thefts. This trend is likely due to several factors, including population growth, an inability of prosecutors to prosecute nonviolent crimes, and an increase in drug addiction and mental illness. My family, too, has been directly affected by these increasing statistics. My sister suffered an all-too-common vehicle crime in San Francisco after a criminal broke into and entered her vehicle. But it did not end there. The criminal then used narcotics that ultimately led to the inside of her vehicle catching fire. Upon discovering a man inside her car, my sister called the police, who promptly arrived and apprehended him. Despite his multiple arrests, he was only incarcerated for 48 hours. Unfortunately, California's current criminal justice policies have only contributed to the problem by making it difficult to prosecute perpetrators. One major reason for this is California's focus on rehabilitation over punishment, even in cases of violent crime. This approach aims to reduce the number of people incarcerated, but it also reduces the deterrent effect of the criminal justice system. There is no punishment for the crime that will prevent the criminal from a repeat offense. California's policies have additionally made it difficult for prosecutors to bring charges against those who commit crimes, as the burden of proof has been raised and the penalties for crimes have been reduced. Perpetrators feel like they can get away with their actions, making our streets less safe. A tragic example of this is the recent killing of Selma police officer Gonzalo Carrasco Jr. Unfortunately, this resulted from politics and the early release of criminals. Our communities are paying the price, with state prisons being closed and the people who serve and protect us being placed in harm's way. Experts in sentencing from the California District Attorneys Association have reported that following the enactment of Proposition 57, the average inmate sentenced to prison serves around 1/3 of the sentence the judge imposed on them, which is substantially less than the previous length of incarceration. Proposition 57 poses a significant risk, as before this law change, inmates with eligible prior convictions were mandated to serve 80% of their judicially imposed sentences. It is essential for the state to take a more balanced approach that emphasizes both rehabilitation and punishment so that perpetrators are held accountable for their actions and victims receive the justice they deserve to address these issues. It is beyond time for the state to address crime in California. Some of the most crucial policy initiatives leaders should implement in California to address crime are discussed below. Prevent serial theft. Serial theft is a growing problem in California that significantly impacts the safety and security of the state's residents and businesses. Crimes like catalytic converter thefts, smash-and-grab robberies, and even porch pirates have led to Californians feeling unsafe at an unbearable cost to our community's local businesses. These types of crimes not only result in financial losses for victims, but also decrease overall public trust and confidence in the criminal justice system. This is a result of Proposition 47, which was passed in 2014 and reclassified many nonviolent property crimes as misdemeanors, including theft of property valued under $950. This makes it easier for repeat offenders to avoid harsher penalties and continue their criminal behavior without facing significant consequences. This lenient approach to property crimes has led to a surge of serial theft crimes in California, which has left many residents feeling unsafe and vulnerable. Business owners, in particular, have been hit hard by these crimes, as the cost of replacing stolen items and repairing damage to their properties can be high. Furthermore, the lack of accountability for these crimes has eroded public trust and confidence in the criminal justice system. Charging serial theft as a felony is an important step toward addressing this issue and holding repeat offenders accountable for their actions. Felony charges can result in longer prison sentences and greater fines, acting as a deterrent for would-be thieves. To prevent serial theft, it is essential that the state takes a tough stance against these types of crimes and charges them as felonies, because this would send a clear message to would-be thieves that such behavior will not be tolerated and that they will face severe consequences if caught. While preventing serial theft may not solve all of California's problems, it is an important step toward making the state a safer and more secure place for its residents and businesses. We must charge serial theft as a felony and stop these crimes in their tracks. End human trafficking. Human trafficking is a prevalent and devastating issue that has plagued communities across the world for far too long, and it is becoming increasingly common in our state. It is estimated that millions of people are victims of this form of slavery, with the majority being women and children. In California, the problem is particularly acute, with the state being known as a hub for human trafficking activity. The consequences of this are far-reaching, not just for the victims, but for society as a whole. The reality is that human trafficking is a highly profitable criminal enterprise generating billions of dollars in revenue every year. It is often facilitated by organized crime rings that exploit the most vulnerable individuals, such as those who are homeless, runaways, or immigrants. These victims are often forced into prostitution, labor exploitation, or other forms of servitude. Making human trafficking a strike under the Three Strikes Law is a policy proposal aiming to increase the severity of punishment for human traffickers. California's Three Strikes and You're Out legislation went into effect on March 7, 1994. Its purpose is to dramatically increase punishment for persons convicted of a felony who have previously been convicted of one or more serious or violent felonies, which is commonly known as a strike prior. Adding human trafficking as a strike offense would mean those convicted of this crime face a mandatory minimum sentence of 25 years to life if they have 2 prior serious or violent felony convictions. This would ensure that human traffickers who have a history of criminal behavior face severe consequences and are less likely to repeat these crimes in the future. Additionally, this type of legislation and the threat of a long prison sentence would serve as a deterrent for those who may be considering engaging in this criminal activity and make them think twice before engaging in such a heinous crime. While making human trafficking a strike offense under the Three Strikes Law would not completely solve the issue of human trafficking, it would be a step in the right direction. This policy proposal sends a strong message that human trafficking is an unacceptable and intolerable crime, and that perpetrators will face severe consequences. Ultimately, it is necessary to hold traffickers accountable for their actions and protect vulnerable individuals from exploitation and abuse. Addressing the issue of human trafficking in California is a critical priority. By implementing measures such as making it a strike under the Three Strikes Law, we can hold perpetrators accountable and work to prevent this horrific form of slavery from continuing to destroy lives. The goal must be to create a safe state that is free from human trafficking, where every person is able to live a life free from exploitation and abuse. Support victims of human trafficking in court. Human trafficking is a heinous crime, and its victims endure unimaginable trauma made worse by navigating through our legal system. It's crucial that we recognize the importance of supporting these victims and providing them with the necessary resources to recover and move forward with their lives. One effective way to do this is through vertical prosecution, a process in which the same district attorney handles the case from start to finish. This approach reduces the number of times the victim must recount their story and relive the trauma, leading to a smoother and more manageable process for everyone involved. It also helps to build a stronger case and establish continuity throughout the legal process. This concept is not new and is currently being proposed by Republican leaders in the California State Assembly. Under the current proposition, the Office of Emergency Services would be required to create a new grant program enabling prosecutors to use this technique specifically in human trafficking cases. By empowering prosecutors to use vertical prosecution, we can provide a comprehensive, trauma-informed response to human trafficking that supports the victim while also holding perpetrators accountable. It ensures that victims of human trafficking are not forgotten and are given the necessary support to heal and move on with their lives. Furthermore, it is crucial that we recognize the financial burden that human trafficking places on our communities. Victims of human trafficking require extensive support and services, and this can come at a cost to taxpayers. By implementing vertical prosecution, we can dramatically reduce the amount of taxpayer resources required to support victims in the legal system. This not only benefits taxpayers, but also ensures that resources are allocated efficiently and effectively. It is our duty to ensure that victims of human trafficking are treated with dignity and respect, and their perpetrators are held accountable for their actions. By providing comprehensive support for victims in the legal system, we can work toward a society that is safe and free from human trafficking. This approach is not only morally right, but it is also fiscally responsible. Get tough on fentanyl dealers. Fentanyl is a highly potent synthetic opioid responsible for a rapidly increasing number of overdoses and deaths in the United States. It is a significant public health crisis requiring immediate action from law enforcement and the criminal justice system. To effectively combat the spread of this drug, it is critical to target those responsible for manufacturing and distributing it. By taking a tough stance on fentanyl dealers, California can send a strong message that these crimes will not be tolerated, and that there will be severe consequences for those who engage in this illegal activity. One approach is implementing an education program for those convicted of dealing with or manufacturing fentanyl. We must model the existing education of those convicted of DUIs and provide educational resources to those convicted of dealing or manufacturing fentanyl. This program could include information on the drug's dangers, its impacts on communities, and the legal consequences of engaging in these illegal activities. This solution would not increase penalties for the current crime, but would be a tool to educate and prevent future tragedies. By educating dealers and manufacturers, California can help prevent future offenses and reduce the spread of fentanyl. In addition, increasing the penalties for dealing or manufacturing fentanyl can serve as a deterrent for those who might otherwise consider engaging in these crimes. This could include charges like voluntary manslaughter and murder for subsequent offenses, which would be a significant increase from the current penalties. With fentanyl being the leading cause of death for adults aged 18 to 45 in the United States, time is of the essence to hold dealers accountable. We must make these dealers aware of the consequences and liable for selling this lethal drug. Strengthening social and economic conditions. As California conservatives, we believe in the power of personal responsibility, hard work, and self-sufficiency. We also recognize the reality that poverty, unemployment, and lack of education can serve as roadblocks for individuals seeking to achieve these values. Unfortunately, these same conditions often lead to criminal behavior, creating a cycle of crime and poverty that is difficult to break. However, we can help those in need overcome these obstacles and achieve their full potential as a society. Providing people with access to better job opportunities, education, and financial stability can break the cycle of crime and poverty and build stronger, more resilient communities. Therefore, the availability of job opportunities is a crucial factor in reducing criminal activity. Chronic unemployment can lead to feelings of desperation and hopelessness that drive individuals to engage in criminal behavior. However, initiatives like the no-cost employment and training services offered through America's Job Center of California, in partnership with state and local agencies and organizations, present a blueprint for empowering our communities. By offering job training, work placement programs, and job creation initiatives, we can equip individuals with the skills and experience they need to secure stable employment. This, in turn, results in improved financial stability and a reduction in the likelihood of criminal behavior. As we will explore in a later chapter, education also plays an important role in reducing crime. Lack of educational opportunities can limit an individual's job prospects and earning potential, also creating a cycle of poverty that can lead to criminal behavior. In fact, research shows that increasing male students' high school graduation rates by 5% would result in an annual savings of more than $2.4 billion in crime-related spending and add nearly $200 million in earnings in the state of California. By investing in programs that provide access to quality education and job training, we can help individuals acquire the skills and knowledge they need to succeed in today's economy. Programs supporting those in need can have broad, positive effects. As we will see in a later chapter on homelessness, investing in such programs can be especially impactful for Americans who have been convicted of crimes and have been incarcerated multiple times, as they are 13 times more likely to become homeless than those who have not committed crimes. Even those who have been incarcerated only once are 7 times more likely to experience homelessness. In addition to reducing crime rates, these programs can improve public health and create a more stable and just society. For example, providing access to health care, nutrition, and housing programs can help individuals and families overcome challenges contributing to criminal behavior. By addressing these root causes, we can prevent crime before it occurs. As conservatives, we stand firm in our belief in the power of individual initiative and determination. We know that hard work and self-reliance are the keys to success. However, we also understand that poverty, joblessness, and limited education can impede people from achieving these principles. That's why it's so critical that we work to create a supportive environment for those in need. By giving people access to good jobs, education, and financial stability, we can break the cycle of poverty and crime and build stronger, safer communities. Investing in programs that help people in need isn't just the right thing to do, it's a smart thing to do. It can reduce crime, improve public health, and create a more equitable and stable society. By creating better conditions for people to succeed, we can empower them to lead fulfilling lives and reach their full potential, free from the dangers and distractions of crime. It is imperative for California's leaders to address crime quickly because it affects the safety and well-being of the state's residents and has far-reaching impacts on the economy and community. Crime, particularly serial theft, human trafficking, and the fentanyl epidemic, have contributed to a feeling of insecurity and put a strain on local businesses. To effectively combat these issues, comprehensive and effective solutions are needed that address root causes such as poverty and unemployment, and hold criminals accountable through proper prosecution and education. Therefore, improving social and economic conditions is imperative to reducing crime and creating safer communities in California.